John and Tara Bell. We have 2 kids. Aiden's 5.5 and Haley is 4. Both autistic. They were both diagnosed around the age of about 2.5.
Michaela was born with a VSD, ventricular septal defect. Basically, they told us that her body would grow, her mind would not. No matter how old she got, her mind would probably stay at a 12-year-old level.
Is that Colin?
I'm Shirley Craig.
I'm Jim Craig.
And we have a son named Colin Craig, and Colin has Down syndrome, and so he is the child that we have services through FSCD.
My name is Debbie Curry. This is my son Evan Curry, and he's 11 years old, and my daughter Lindsay Curry, and she's 13 years old. Evan was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder in 2006. He's also been diagnosed with OCD and ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, and sensory issues, and he's a lovely little boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bruce and Heather Murray were the proud parents of 16-year-old Alex, very much typical 16-year-old child in very many ways. Alex is triplegic cerebral palsy, classified as severe. Really only has use of his left hand with any degree of certainty. Fine motor skill development delays, gross motor skill development delays, global developmental delays. But for all that, he's physically very healthy.
Parents of children with disabilities sometimes need support so they can raise their children at home and fully participate in community life. The FSCD program uses a family-centered approach to provide a range of supports and services that help parents promote their child's healthy growth and development.
We recognize the added challenge of parenting a child with a disability, and we really want to be there to help them be successful in parenting that child and keeping that child in their family.
Family-centered approach is that we look at the uniqueness of a family situation and all the members within that family. So it's not just based on the child, it's not based just particularly on the parents. It's also including siblings, the extended family, all of that as we build capacity for the family to become more sufficient in their community, within themselves as a whole, to then support their child throughout lifetime.
It's not just about Colin, it's about the family and the well-being of the family. And I think Wendy said this several times, that a healthy family is able to support their child a whole lot more.
It's about allowing families the opportunity to feel like it's okay to ask for help. It's okay that they don't have to do it on their own.
You do feel overwhelmed, you do feel that you should be able to take care of this yourself, right? This is your child. You shouldn't have to go out there and have somebody provide services. But you need to get beyond that. You need to think that the service is provided or is there to be used, and you should use it for the benefit of all of your family, not just your child.
FSCD supports and services are available to all families within the province, as well as those who are living on reserve.
They also need to be diagnosed with a disability, and they need to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, and the child's legal guardian or parent needs to fill out the documentation.
Parachute and postman Pat.
FSCD defines a disability as something that is chronic, and a child would not be eligible for FSCD supports if their condition was medical and that it could be treated medically.
If the family is not eligible, the FSCD worker will refer them to the appropriate community resources.
FSCD is a program that's intended to assist families with some of the costs that might be incurred, and really recognize the fact that raising a child with a disability can be more costly and can have some different expenses.
We tried to provide the funding and the supports to ease off the extraordinary impact that having a child with a disability would have.
It's about giving families access to services that they might not know exist otherwise. But it is important to remember that parents are still expected and required to pay for all of the typical expenses that might come up for a family, any family who has a child, whether that's things like clothing or school fees, things like that. FSCD funding can still be accessed by parents who have other insurance plans. The general expectation is that a family will attempt to utilize all natural supports and community resources available to them before accessing FSCD services.
Some of the support includes individual and family counseling, assistance with the costs related to clothing and footwear for a child who has a disability, assistance with the cost of medical related appointments, including things like parking and mileage. If the child's in hospital, we could assist with accommodations and meals, respite support. We also provide funding for supports which include childcare support, aid support, health-related supports, such as extraordinary costs for prescription drugs or formula, special diet.
A family might also utilize specialized services for children with severe disabilities, and in some situations we also have out-of-home placements that are available.
It's not hard for families to apply for FSCD support. There's a number of avenues they can take. They can call their local office and have an application mailed. They can go online and find the application, or they can simply visit one of the local offices to obtain the application form.
FSCD requires a medical letter from a healthcare professional that states the child's diagnosis. It can be from a healthcare professional such as a psychiatrist, a GP, that states how that diagnosis might impact that child in his daily life. The caseworker will make an appointment to come out to see the family and to do what's called an assessment of needs. During that time in the home visit, we will ask questions of the family to get a better picture as to what their strengths and their areas of needs are. Through that process, then, we can determine what are the appropriate supports and services the family may need.
Part of the family-centered approach to me is really looking at the fact that every family has individual strengths that help them to promote their child's development, help them to really understand what their child's needs are, and working with them too so that they can teach me what it is that their child needs.
They'll ask you a million questions about your kids. Do they eat? Do they sleep? How do they? Whatever. And just to really kind of gather a profile. And then once you get your family support worker to come out to your house, you know, then you'll just get the ball rolling.
The intake process was the easiest I've ever experienced, and it was a blessing. I mean, we were afraid to make that phone call. Once I made the phone call, Deborah was amazing. She phoned us up, booked an appointment with us, came to our home, and it was like having a nice conversation with a friend.
When I usually start with a family, they can either be in a crisis situation or they may be searching for other resources that they haven't already accessed. And through that and through the lifespan of my involvement, which can range from 0 to 18, I can form a really good relationship with that family and watch the progress and help them along that journey.
She's wonderful. She's always there to answer questions. Very helpful, very friendly, and the amount of information that you get is amazing.
And you feel comfortable, and you don't feel like you're being judged. She's there to help and support. And when she asks the question, you know that she's sincere when she says, is there anything else that you need? Is there anything else that you're thinking of? And you don't feel afraid to say, this is overwhelming or this is challenging for us. Do you know of a way that we could deal with that a little bit better?
Everybody who I came in contact with through FSCD was very helpful, very kind, and made the transition into the program very easy for me.
There is no way financially that we could try and do this all on our own, to try and hire aides and people to come into our house or whatever too. It's just not feasible. You'd have to take out 10 mortgages or, you know, whatever to try and get this.
FSCD contracts are reassessed on a yearly basis, so we actually go out and see every family at least once a year. But if something changes for that family in the midst of the contract year, by all means, contacting their FSCD worker is what we would chat with them about doing. And it is sometimes an ever-evolving process. They just need to make sure to keep in touch with us and let us know what's going on for their family.
Even though we only see her once, maybe twice a year, I know that if there was anything that I needed adjusting or, you know, just to make sure that we're able to access everything available, she's just a phone call or an email away.
The FSCD program supports family and their children from the age of 0 to 18. It also will support a family through that transition period to adult services. So we generally at the age of 16 will provide a package for the family discussing educational needs, AISH, PDD, and transitional information such as guardianship, trusteeship, things like that, so that the family can prepare ahead of time so that their child has a smooth transition into adult services.
If we didn't get the help at a young age, our kids would be lost in the world of autism.
They're there to help, and they want to help. They're compassionate, caring, kind individuals who truly understand what a family is going through, who's raising a child with special needs. And I've had nothing but positive experiences with them. And I would suggest to every family out there that is struggling right now with children or a child with disability to reach out and find those services.
It's been the best experience I have ever had.
It's important to make the call.
Very
There's no doubt about that. It's important for your child to make that call.
And you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for your child. Your child deserves to have anything that's available for them.
For more information about the FSCD program, call Alberta Supports or visit child.alberta.ca/disabilities.